All right, this is the
God.
first episode of Cage Discussion. My camera's already tweaking the fuck out. I gotta get a new webcam. So preface through this real quick. We both have started watching MMA in like 2020, 2021. So, so yeah, my camera's so fucked. Your phone falling back. So I'm just gonna have this shit off, bro. Anyway. I gotta get a
It's all good.
webcam. Yeah, I gotta get a webcam. That's my
Yeah,
problem.
it's all
But
good. All right. So, what's the first question of the day? What are we discussing?
all right, so for the flyweight division, uh,
All
my
right.
my third question. Yeah, I'm going 3-1. All right, like question 3-1, like one being the most important.
All right.
All right. So for flyweight, I said after the quadrilogy, right? Who do you think is
All
going
right.
to be the next number one contender, and who do you think should be the number one contender?
If he doesn't take a fight by then, Pantoja for sure. I think Pantoja 1,000% deserves it right now. I mean,
He's ranked.
obviously, Figgy Moreno 4 is going to happen. I feel like if Pantoja just waits till the summer, he'll have the title shot. There's no excuse not to give Pantoja the title shot.
Yeah, he's ranked number two, so all he does have to do is sit down. I mean, if I feel like one more win from him, like fully solidify his number one contendership. But honestly, he could just sit down and just wait for another title shot. He's done all he had to do, and didn't he face Figgy before?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so
Pantoja did face Figgy before, yeah. It was at, I think, UFC 240 or 242. It was right around there, but I know Figgy beat him. I think it was 30-27 or some shit. Or I know Figgy beat him fair and square.
okay.
But
If
I,
not Pantoja, then why not give Kaikara France a shot? I mean, I feel like he just like after that loss to Moreno is kind of iffy, but like I would like to see Kaikara France versus Figgy fight. It's different for Figgy. I got a question about Figgy after this, but like you know, yeah, I feel like that matchup would be very interesting. I feel like Kai Car France is probably one of the most dynamic strikers in UFC, like explosive wise. Like he has that like weird Michael Chandler, like TJ Dillashaw explosive style. So you know what I mean?
absolutely. Kai, in my opinion, behind Brandon Moreno, is the most entertaining flyweight. I mean, Brandon Moreno is clearly the most entertaining flyweight we have right now. But Kai, I mean, you got to put respect on his name. I
Yeah,
mean, I feel like he was beating Moreno fair and square in the fight that they had recently on 277.
yeah.
But Moreno's that guy, so Moreno finished it off. But I feel like if that was going to decision, I was going to take that fight.
It
But
was heavily
yeah,
in Kai's favor. I feel like I feel like Kai was landing more strikes. I feel like he was throwing more, but goddamn Moreno with them
absolutely,
liver
yeah,
kicks.
absolutely.
So, what's your number three question for flyweight?
My question is, how long will it take, months or years wise, to see a flyweight title fight that does not involve Moreno or Figgy? How long do you think?
Ooh, that's a good question. That's a really good question. Damn. I would give it a good two because Figgy's getting older. I mean, he's not
I mean, he's
old.
only 35, and he beat Moreno his last fight.
No,
I
I
think he's
feel
in his
like
prime.
if Figgy beats Moreno, he's definitely clearing the entire division. Like in my opinion, I don't know. You gotta. I gotta. My second question is gonna kind of fuck up that my entire take what I just said, but like also Moreno is like a good placeholder just in case Figgy does move up or whatever. He is truly like how Max Holloway is the featherweight or how Kobe is the welterweight. Like he's definitely the second place fighter. But I don't know. Like I would say a good 2 years. I would say a good 2 years. I don't know who's gonna beat Figgy. Like right now it's too soon to tell. Uh, the only person that I think can beat Figgy is Moreno, and I don't think Moreno's gonna win this fight coming up. If you're asking me right now, I think I have Figgy right now.
Yeah, if you had to ask me, if I had to bet money, which I do not bet money on fights, I would have to probably say Figgy. But at the same time, I would not feel comfortable with either bet. Like if I bet Figgy, I feel like Moreno can pull it out. If I bet Moreno, I feel like Figgy can easily pull it off. But I feel like if someone's finishing anybody, I feel like Moreno is finishing Figgy. Moreno's in way too good of shape to get finished, in my opinion. Like, there's no way you're gonna finish Moreno. There's no way.
Yeah, he took a lot of damage against Concar France, and Figgy. If anybody has the power to knock Moreno out, it is Figgy. He did knock him down 3 times the last fight, but
Absolutely.
at the same time, Moreno's game is also bigger and more diverse. Like he's been implementing more kickboxing into his fighting style. Did he switch teams?
Well, Moreno had to switch teams. You know about the James Cruz situation?
Yeah,
Yeah.
with
So
the gambler.
any fighter who's coached by him is not allowed to fight in the UFC. So he had to take some coach in Vegas. There was a guy in Vegas that's coaching Moreno now, but I know he has nothing to do with James Cruz anymore, and that's unfortunate because that has like a betting scam has nothing to do with coaching a fight. So it's
Yeah,
whatever.
like in comparison right now to the UFC is like how Calvin Ridley got suspended for an entire year for betting on NFL games, but Deshaun Watson got suspended for 13 games for allegedly sexually assaulting women. It's kind of like how Dana White. I mean, even though
Yeah,
he's the owner of the company, he's not getting any reprimand. I mean, he's getting reprimands from like TBS is taking Power Slap out of the network game. Like, did you know that?
yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, it's true.
I saw that.
Yeah,
I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, you have it coming for you.
yeah,
If you put your hands on a woman, that's gonna happen to you regardless,
yeah.
some form or way.
It's extremely fun. I don't want to turn this into this whole thing, but look, my second question for the flyweight. My answer to you is 2 years. My second question is: do you think Figgy can readjust to new competition after facing Figgy 4 times in a row?
Absolutely. I mean, I think what happens is he beats everyone in that division, no problem,
No. I mean,
no problem.
yeah, beforehand, he was on a fucking run. Like, he finished Alex Perez in the first round. He finished, what's this, Joseph
Twice,
Benavidez, yeah,
twice,
twice
twice
in the first
Benavidez.
round.
Yeah, there's no other competition for Dave's. I mean, I think Kai absolutely puts up a fight, but at the end of the day, I think Figgy definitely beats Kai. But I think Kai is the closest, and maybe the new Pantoja. Who knows? I mean, they fought before, but if anybody else is fighting Figgy in the division, I'm putting my money on Davison
Yeah.
easily.
The only person in the only flyweight in the world that I would bet against, the only two flyweights that I would bet against the world. No, the only flyweight that I would bet against the world against Figueroa is DJ. That's the only person I think would beat Figgy.
I think that would go to decision, but at the end of the day, I think DJ. I think
DJ's
that turns into
wrestling
more
is
of a grappling fight,
yeah,
and I
DJ's
think
wrestling.
DJ takes that.
I love DJ so much. I wish he was back in the UFC. What was your top?
Absolutely.
What was your second question?
My second question is: if Moreno beats Figgy and Figgy stays active, all right, how many wins does it take for Figgy to get another title shot?
Ooh, this is good. It's kind of hard because
That's a fifth fight, man. That's never happened.
fifth fight. I mean, does the UFC really want to do that? First off, do the fighters want to do that? How good is that for their careers to face the same opponent 5 times? Eh,
That's terrible. It's got to be terrible. Like, there's no
is it
way.
really? And the UFC, like based off that logic, the Connor Dustin fight isn't completely out of conversation because technically, I don't know that it's like I would say if either way if Figgy loses, I think he should go up. I think he should go to
Absolutely.
bantamweight. Yeah,
No, he's
but
gonna have. to. He walks around at 160, 155 pounds. He can't make that weight cut anymore. It's impossible for him.
That's an insane amount of rate.
Yeah, I know. That's like a 35. I mean, I think it's like 150, 155 pounds is what he walks around at.
He walks around
And
at like lightweight.
yeah, and he cuts all that weight. He has a brutal weight cut every night before the fight. I know he's always cut at least 10, 11, 12 pounds the day before a fight.
Absolutely horrible. I would say
Absolutely.
I would say if he had to stay in the division, he would have to clear the top contenders right now, like Kai France, Brandon Morale, like Pantoja. Like he has to wipe them out, and the new guys coming in. Like apparently this Muhammad Makayev dude is pretty good. I don't know who that dude is, but apparently
Personally, don't like him. Respect him as a fighter. Personally, just don't like the guy as a person. I just don't like that guy, Muhammad Mokayev.
I don't
I
even know who
mean,
he is. Apparently he's pretty good.
no, he's damn good. No, he's absolutely a beast. He's gonna be top five one day, 1,000%. And honestly, if there's a future champion, it's probably he has a chance at it. He's only like 23 or 22.
Yeah, that's
I
not
mean,
bad.
and he's already whooping people's asses in the UFC. There's no telling that guy doesn't have the vision to be a champion. But I just don't like him personally. I'm just not a fan.
Yeah, I wish Askar Askarov didn't leave, bro. His style is boring as fuck, but like he brought up he has a good contendership spot in that division, but I think he realized that he's like in a lower rung compared to Kai Car France, then Moreno, then Figgy. Like they're on a whole different tier. It's kind of fucked up how every division's like that.
Yep.
My number one question is we basically answered this already. What do you think is gonna happen, and how do you think is gonna happen? Like, who do you think is gonna win? And how do you think is gonna happen?
In my opinion, I think Figgy. If I have to have my safest bet right now, it's either Figgy by decision or Brandon Moreno by TKO. And the reason why I say TKO is because Brandon has had a really, really good experience with a stand up fight against Kai. And I mean, that man Kai has the power to knock out a full grown man at the height of 5'4" and 125 pounds. And I mean, I think that gave Brandon Moreno the experience to go in there and show Figgy what's up. But at the end of the day, if I'm betting money, it's in Brazil, it's in Rio de Janeiro, or I think it's in Rio de Janeiro. I think Figgy takes it by decision, but if Moreno wins, it's a finish, 1,000%.
I might agree with you. I think the odds are too much against Brandon Moreno. Like as much as I like him, as much as he gotten insanely better. It showed in the Kai Car France fight. He's really diversifying his fucking style and everything. Um, I think everything's in Figgy's favor. I think it's gonna ultimately come down to striker grappler, and I think Figgy is gonna take.
Moreno's the better grappler, 1,000%. I think I take Moreno in a grappling match any day on Figueredo.
Really?
I think Figueredo just has so much more power than Moreno.
Yeah. I
I
have
mean,
it
it
go.
shows.
I personally have it going split decision Figgy. I have it being a very very close fight.
Absolutely. There's
Yeah.
no way this is a one sided fight. There's no way at
It's
least
not
one of
going.
these fighters
It's
going to
not
win a
going to
round.
unan. It's not going to unanimous decision. It's for sure a split decision if it goes to decision. But
Absolutely, man. And I
no,
mean,
this is a fight that I
but
like because it's gonna be a close fight, either split decision or the one way it's gonna finish. It's gonna be a seriously fucked up knockout. I don't think it's gonna be any submissions. No,
absolutely.
no grappling.
Absolutely. I mean, I can't bet on a submission. I mean, Figueredo just looked off in that second fight. And I remember watching it live. But I remember in the third fight, Figgy really showed up. And to do that against a fighter like Moreno, oh my gosh. I mean, that's so impressive. People don't give Figgy the amount of respect he deserves. I think Moreno did fair and square, won 2 rounds in that fight, and that's it. I think I think Davidson got a knockdown in 1, 3, and 5, and clearly you win those rounds. I mean, that's fair and square to
Like
Figgy.
how, yeah, there was no way you couldn't give him that. I mean, much as like I said, it's really hard to watch fights and not have bias in it because I was like, well, Moreno, but like my head was like, but Moreno, but I really knew that Figgy won. Uh,
Absolutely, me too.
just yeah, it's gonna be a rough one because if Moreno loses, then he really doesn't. I mean, he can wait until Figgy moves up, which is not that. It's not that much longer. I think if Figgy wins, I think two more title defenses will like solidify him as like a bantamweight contender. But right now, I think bantamweight's too good for him to even like get in the conversation.
I believe Figgy can definitely do damage in that, which was actually answering my question. I was gonna say if Figgy loses against Moreno, who do you think they give him a shot at in bantamweight first? Clearly, it's not a title shot. I think it's a top five, but who do you think he has the best chance of beating the top five in bantamweight?
In the top five, I'm looking at the top five right now. It is one Sean O'Malley, two Peter Yan, three Marab, four Cheeto, five Corey Sandhagen. That is hard as fuck.
Exactly. There's
Dang.
Figueredo is
Okay.
5'6", I think, or 5'8",
5'6".
or whatever it is.
Okay. Let me rate this down. All right. I have Corey Sandhagen beating him. I have
Absolutely,
I don't know how, but I have Corey Sandhagen beating him. I have Cheeto finishing him.
absolutely, I agree.
This one,
I have
Rob, one
Sean
I don't
also
know.
finishing him. Sean finishes him. You know that
Sean finishes him. Yes.
by a brutal KO, in my opinion.
Jan
Not a big Sean O'Malley fan. Just saying
Jan
that power's way too much.
Jan definitely finishes him. 1,000%.
Absolutely,
I don't know about Marab though.
that's what I'm thinking. I think his best chance is against someone like Marab, someone who's
If we're
definitely
looking
not.
at the top 10, like if we're looking top 10, definitely Dominic Cruz. I think Vicky can finish Dominic Cruz.
Yeah, I think Song Yadong, the Chinese guy,
Yeah.
I think Figgy has an okay chance against him because he's a heavy boxer, and I think Figgy has good enough power and hands to deal with that.
This is
But
this is what you were talking about with the bantamweight division. How like the number 10 can beat the number 3, and how the number 4 can lose to the number 8. So Ricky Simon, right? He's a little too strong for Figgy. I feel
who is? Sorry, what'd you say?
Ricky Simon.
Um, Ricky Simon's too big for him, in my
Yeah,
opinion. I feel like Figgy's just not
like I feel like
quite big.
Figgy's the absolute. I feel Figgy's absolutely the better fighter, but Ricky Simon is a little too big for him.
Yeah, Figgy's really good at. I feel like the only thing Figgy will be really good at in that division is scrambling because Figgy's one of the best scramblers in the whole entire UFC. Like he's not going to get taken down easily, and if you take him down, you're not going to hold him down easily.
Yeah.
But if Figgy beats anybody in the top 10 of bantamweight, he's going to have to finish them, in my opinion. Like there's no way. I don't see him coasting to a decision against anybody except for Marab. I feel like he can finish Marab.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna start with bantamweight.
Okay.
In your level headed opinion, right? Who do you think is the real number one contender in that division? Who do you think should get the title and the shot next? Like honest, like
In bantamweight,
in your honest opinion, who do you think should get a title shot next?
in my opinion, I think it's. I mean, if we're looking at, let me just answer the question brutally honest. I think Marlon Vera, absolutely. I think Marlon Vera deserves it. I think he destroyed Rob Font, knocked out Dominic Cruz, knocked out Frankie Edgar. How do you not give that guy what he deserves? I mean, absolutely, you can argue that he needs to do one more fight, but who else in the top five has done more than him right now?
Yeah,
I mean, Sean has a really
he has a spotty
close.
resume.
He has a really close win over Peter Yan. I personally gave Peter Yan the fight, and I don't know. I don't know who you give that to. I personally think Marlon Vera deserves it.
Yeah, I think Cheeto definitely deserves a shot. I mean, he's been the most consistent at the top 10. Like, I remember the first ever time seeing him in 268, and when he finished Frank, like, I thought Frankie was winning that at first. Like, it's weird because Cheeto is the type of
Like
fighter
he
to,
was.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, Cheeto's the type of fighter to, like, lose that. Dominic Cruz was winning that fight, in my opinion, but Cheeto finished him. Like, Cheeto's a type, he's like Alex Pereira. He'll lose at first, but then he'll hit you with the finishing strike out of nowhere.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The bantamweight division, in my opinion, is my favorite. Every time there's a top 10 bantamweight fight going on, there's no way it's going to be a bad fight.
Yeah.
But what I think is the best for the bantamweight division is Henry Cejudo coming back. And people are taking it as like Henry Cejudo is just a joke. Henry Cejudo is arguably the greatest bantamweight of all time. Okay?
Arguably the greatest flyweight.
No, Demetrius is.
Yeah,
I would never
Demetrius.
put him. I would never
That's
put him.
what are you saying?
I would never put like Cejudo over Demetrius. I mean, I personally thought when I was watching that fight when they rematched, I thought Demetrius beat Cejudo.
Yeah,
But I
Demetrius
guess
also finished. Demetrius also finished Cejudo too.
yeah, it's just in the second fight, Cejudo utilized his wrestling, and that's what won him the fight. And he won fair and square, I guess. Now that I look at it, but I think Cejudo coming back puts a big competition step in the bantamweight division. I think Aljamain finishes Cejudo. I mean, if there's going to be anybody that's going to beat a prime Cejudo, it's going to be someone like Aljamain. And yeah, that's my opinion.
Yeah, if I had to pick anybody, I'm looking at the rankings. If I had to pick somebody, like based off entertainment, hell is Billy calling me? Uh, based off, I hope he doesn't see this. Based off entertainment, probably Sean O'Malley. But if we're going who deserves it, definitely Cheeto.
Yeah,
He's on a win streak. Finishing
I
motherfuckers.
I think Sean's best shot at becoming the champion is fighting anybody in the top five other than Corey Sandhagen and Aljamain Sterling. Because there is no way Aljamain Sterling's going to get tired. There's no way not Peter, sorry, Corey Sandhagen's going to get tired. And even if Peter Yan rematched him in a 5-round fight, I would never doubt Sean O'Malley. I would never say he's not good enough to win those fights. Sean is an absolute animal and can beat everyone. But
I
if I'm
think
putting
Sean
money
could
on
be.
it,
I think Sean could
go
beat
ahead, sorry.
Marab. I think Sean could beat Marab definitely.
Oh, I think Sean knocks Marab out. In my opinion, I put a good amount of money on Sean knocking Marab out. But I feel like Sean's biggest competition. I feel like Sean could beat Cheeto. I feel like Sean's biggest competition is Aljamain and Corey Sandhagen because those guys are stylistically able to beat Sean.
Yeah. Isn't Corey Sandhagen and Sean O'Malley the same size?
They are actually the same size. They're both 5'11". They're both tall, skinny, and lanky. So
Oh,
they're the exact same size. But I feel like Corey's just more dynamic. I feel like Sean's way more powerful.
I feel like Sean's.
But who has finished Corey other than Aljamain?
That is true. I feel like Aljamain is a pretty bad matchup for Sean O'Malley. I feel like that's why Aljamain wants to face Sean O'Malley right now. It's just that stylistically is not a great matchup for Sean.
Yeah, I mean,
Dude's gonna
Dillashaw's out
spam.
of the picture. I mean, you got to give it to Aljamain. I mean, I think Aljamain's the favorite over anyone he fights right now. I mean, I think he's the favorite over Cejudo. I think he's definitely the favorite over Marlon. I mean, Corey's a minus 220, I think, right now over Marlon. If Corey fights his fight and Corey fights the way he has to fight, he beats Cheeto.
Yeah.
I mean, what I think Corey has to be scared of is that third, fourth round third
First.
or fourth round Cheeto. I mean, I don't think the first. I think Corey takes the first 2 rounds, but I think Cheeto is going to turn up at the end of that fight, and that's going to be dangerous for Corey. Very dangerous.
It's always that third, fourth round. Cheeto finds that he starts to look for the finish towards the end of the fight. He spends his first couple of rounds like getting his reads off, trying to. That's what he did with
Absolutely.
Frankie. Yeah, that's what he did with Frankie. And fucking like I
Frankie
remember
was 2 minutes away from beating him. I cannot believe that. I mean, if you really think about it,
that those last 2 minutes when fucking Cheeto was just nailing off on him. He was trying to land the front kick like 5 different times, and then he finally landed it fucking flush. If it wasn't
absolutely.
if it wasn't for Chandler, that would probably have been the sickest front kick knockout in recent memory. Uh,
I would say, in in my opinion, I think the best fight for the next title in bantamweight, other than Cejudo, because I know they're going to book Cejudo for it. It clearly just has to be the winner of Corey and Marlon. But my opinion is, what do you do with Peter Yan? I think you
that
do
was
Peter Yan with Marab.
that's my next question. What do you think they're about to do with Peter Yan?
Peter Yan versus Marab. I mean, you have an elite grappler like Marab and as such a durable fighter. But what Marlon Moraes did to Marab, Peter Yan would not mess that up. I would have Peter Yan as a heavy, heavy favorite over Marab.
Oh, even Jose Aldo in the first round was low key teeing off of Marab.
Yeah, I mean, that's just Marab's thing. He's one of those Ben Askren style fighters. I mean, like, no matter how good of a striker you are, he'll always find his way to get an advantage on you. And Marab is that guy. Marab will always be in the top 5. He can beat a lot of people at bantamweight right now. But I just feel like somebody with heavy power and elite striking is just going to beat Marab up. And I mean, Jose Aldo was that guy. Jose Aldo, I think, was the favorite. Was Jose Aldo the favorite?
Yeah, it was a favorite.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, see? But Jose Aldo didn't do what we expected him to do. He just hung back, just let Marab kind of do what he wanted to do. I mean, I think as soon as you put him in there with a guy like Cheeto or Sanhagen or Sean, they're just going to beat his ass.
I'm sorry. Based off I don't mean to go back on the Marab and Jose Aldo fight, but based off the scoring that the Jared Gordon and Patty Pimblett had uh, like that card, Jose Aldo would be fighting for a title this month if the judging was based off that logic.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, with those judges, I think they're a serious problem in the future of MMA. If judging has got this bad recently, I mean, even with the Jan Blachowicz and Magomed Ankalaev fight, I mean, how did Magomed Ankalaev not win that fight? He won 3 of those rounds fair and square.
It's to
I
the
thought it was
point.
3-2 Magomed.
It's to the point where I'm like, when Connor comes back, that fight cannot go to decision at all. Like whatever fight he has cannot go to decision at all because I know if it goes to decision, I feel like it's going to be heavily in Connor's favor because Connor needs a fucking win right now. Let's say he faces
Yeah,
Chandler. Let's say he faces Chandler in a really close fight right now. Do you think they're going to lean towards McGregor or Chandler? Who do you think needs it more?
I think Connor needs to win more than anybody in the UFC right now.
Yeah, so they're
I
probably
mean,
going to.
there's nobody in the UFC that needs to win more than Connor. I mean, bro, your last win since 2016 is Donald Cerrone. Like, he knows it too. He knows it. But I mean, he's only fought the best of the best.
Yeah.
He's never taken an easy fight. And despite being, I'm not personally a major Connor fan. Do I tune in every time he fights? Yes. Do I love Connor? Absolutely. But Connor's never took an easy fight except for Donald Cerrone. Everyone knew he was going to beat Cowboy.
Yeah.
Everyone knew.
I don't even know what.
And I mean, I think they're going to do that to him again. I think they're going to give him somebody that's really easy to beat. Maybe they're going to give him Nick Diaz. Who knows? Like the UFC's capable of stuff like that.
That'd be funny. I got a question that has have 6 opponents to name for you, and I want you to give me a reaction. But
Okay.
we missed your 2 questions for bantamweight. What were your 2 questions?
I didn't really have any planned questions for bantamweight. I mean, there's not really questions you can put out for bantamweight. It's the most unpredictable division. When you
I
have
got
guys like Dominic Cruz in there who could just beat anybody, you never know.
I got one more question for bantamweight. Do you think
Okay.
Aljo will move to 145?
Um,
Because he's been saying he's been wanting to do it.
yeah. I mean, do I think eventually and at one point in his career? Absolutely, yes. But do I see it within the next 2 years? No. I mean, I think Cejudo puts him through a war. I mean, you're not going to hold Cejudo's back. You're not just going to hold it. You can't hold Cejudo down. I mean, I
He's
think
coming off a 3-year layoff, but like, so did GSP. GSP came off a what? Fucking 4-year hiatus.
GSP retired in 2013 and then came back in
27.
late 2017.
Yeah. So it was.
But my thing is with Aljamain, I think if he goes up to 145, he has 2 more title defenses at bantamweight. He has this one coming up against Cejudo, and then after that, I think they're going to give him a Sean fight. I think he wants his Sean fight. He's made it clear he wants the O'Malley fight.
Yeah.
And then after that, Volkanovski will be ready to defend that title against him. And if he wins those fights, or he wins a fight and he wants to go up, he deserves it, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
he
got
deserves it.
Volkanovski finishing him, to be honest, but like, I
Oh,
think
absolutely. Volk would fucking destroy him. Volk would flatten him out.
yeah, I just don't think I think he would want to do that because he says he does a massive weight cut. Like he walks around at like what 175. That's a pretty big weight cut.
He's got up as big as 175 in between the
Period.
yeah, in between the Jan fight. Yeah, he got up that big.
Got up to
And I
one.
mean that is crazy. I mean, there's not even that's almost Colby's weight. That's almost Colby's walk around weight. That's 6 pounds under what Dustin and Colby walk around
And I
at.
don't know
Like,
how he cuts to that weight with no problem. Like he does it with no problem. I haven't seen anything with him with the weight cut problem. And
me either. I mean, I think he's superhuman. I mean, Aljamain's that good. Aljamain is definitely a top 3 bantamweight of all time.
if
I think it's
he goes
go
to
ahead.
featherweight, I don't think he's. I think he's capable of beating Josh Emmett. I don't know. I don't know enough about Arnold Allen to say, yeah, but
We haven't seen
what I
enough of
know,
Arnold.
yeah.
I mean,
But
he fought a featherweight Dan Hooker and an injured Calvin Cater. I feel so bad for Arnold Allen because he said so many times to. I mean, he definitely proved himself against Dan Hooker. I am not discrediting him from that, but come on, man! Like you're fighting Dan Hooker off a 4-fight losing streak, cutting down 10 more pounds. I mean, you can't. You know what I'm saying? I think Max Holloway needs to fight Arnold Allen next.
I don't. I don't really know because, like, my second my I'm gonna cut a question for featherweight because I was like, will Ilya Tapiria have a breakout year? Yes, I absolutely think he'll have a breakout year. Who do I think he'll face next year? Either Cater or Ortega. I feel like Ilya Tapiria versus Ortega is a good fight to make right now because Topuria did shout out Ortega one time, and then Ortega kind of just blew him off, and now they're kind of like
Yeah,
in the ranking.
my thing is Ortega fights once a year.
Yeah,
I mean, we're gonna get one Ortega fight this year, and I think it's gonna be
it's either
either.
Yair or Ilya. It's either Yair or Ilya. That's what I think.
I think Ilya presents a lot of problems to Ortega.
Yeah,
I think Ilya versus Ortega needs to be made.
I was saying, what's next for Max? Either he should. Here's what I personally want, and I think would be beneficial towards the division a little bit. I think like a Max versus Ortega 2 would be pretty nice.
Everyone would love that. I
Yeah,
would love that personally. I can't even complain about that.
it makes sense. They're both coming off 2 losses. I mean, no, Max is coming off a pretty bad loss. Ortega's coming off a
Yeah,
title
Max
loss
got
and an injury. So, like, why not make that fight? And also, like, another fight for him, like you said, Arnold Allen and Max Holloway. But like you said, based off what we've seen off Arnold Allen so far. Oh,
back. You were talking.
yes.
I forget what you were talking about.
So we're talking about Arnold Allen, right?
Yeah.
So based off what we've seen from him so far, two things are very evident. One, doesn't really get tired that often. Two, very explosive.
Oh
Um,
yeah. Oh yeah.
so with that being said, I think Max is so Max had the two Volk fights. Fought Cater in a classic, but let's not discuss. His face got a little bit fucked up in that fight, right? Then he went on to
Yeah.
face Jair. That was the most fucked up I've seen his face since he's faced Dustin for the interim title. And I was like he won that fight pretty evidently, but like Yair threw Yair literally got a fucking ball in his ankle from kicking Max so hard. Then
I know.
then I just thought to myself like, damn, this is the most fucked up I've seen Max's face up until like fucking 276 Revoke. That was the most fucked up I've ever seen anybody's face up until RoboCop
Yeah.
for my birthday. That was the most fucked up thing I've ever seen. But Nah, I think Max is taking and like Max with Max taking a lot of damage, and with me having PTSD from another winged back pressure fighting cardio machine getting knocked out by someone purely explosive. I don't know. It gives me PTSD. I have Max confidently though, but you know, I wouldn't be shocked if we see another like Michael Chandler Tony situation, but I don't think so. I think Max Chan will hold up. We said that about Tony though, so I don't know. I hope that's not the case. I'll be pissed.
I mean, Max never puts himself in a situation to have like a front kick to the face happen to him. I mean,
Yeah.
you're not ever advancing forward like that on Max. I mean, Michael Chandler was hunting Tony down.
No,
Tony had to move to the side and all that stuff.
I'm not strictly saying like a front kick. I'm just saying that was strictly explosive, and Arnold Allen is strictly explosive. I feel like to beat a pressure fighter like that, I think Michael Chandler kind of set the blueprint. You just have to be extremely explosive at the right moment, and I think Arnold Allen is really good at that. I don't know. I have Max though. If they were to fight right now,
I mean, Max beats everyone in that division.
yeah,
I think Ilya Toporia's worst matchup is someone like Max Holloway. I mean, someone that's gonna
absolutely.
just gonna put you through an absolute war. Like, there's no chance of hurting them.
And he's
I mean, I've never seen. Have you ever
and
seen
Max is
Holloway
longer.
hurt? Yeah. Have you ever seen Holloway hurt? Have you ever said, "Oh no, Holloway's hurt. Holloway's hurt"? Like, except for
Again,
Dustin.
yeah. I was about to say Dustin, but he's a lightweight.
Yeah, I mean, no one in featherweight is gonna ever do that to Max. Max is 31 years old. Max has at least 5 or 6 absolute wars left in them.
Yeah, if Volk wins the lightweight title, I think that like my next question was what's the plan moving forward if Volk beats Islam, which is a possibility. I have Islam, but it's a possibility.
Yeah, I have Islam winning that fight.
Yeah, but what happens for the featherweight division moving forward? Do you promote
Well,
anyone?
clearly in the summer, there's going to be a fight between Volk and whoever wins between Yair and Josh Emmett.
Yeah.
And then right after that, it just depends on what condition Volk is in. I mean, if Volk's healthy, then he could probably defend it 3 times this year. I mean, in my opinion, I mean, if it's a really, really, really close fight between Volk and Islam, how do you not give Islam a rematch? Like,
That is true. I mean,
what's your opinion on
I'm not sure if it's a close match and Islam like beats Volk. I think that's gonna close the door on it. if Volk beats Islam though, then I think they would rematch. I don't know, like I don't know who I would have in a rematch. Honestly, I don't think that's the immediate matchup they would make. That's one of my questions for lightweight. I said if Volk wins, who do you think he should face next? Me personally, I would like to see Volkanovski versus Poirier, but
Oh, I was just about to say that.
but
Imagine that fight. Can you imagine 5'9" Dustin versus 5'6" Volk at 155? That is a stand up fight, and that is an absolute war. You cannot tell me Volk and Dustin don't bring a greatest fight of all time.
yeah,
Absolutely. And I would love to see it. And I think Dustin's going to wait. I don't think they're booking another Dustin fight. Dustin's only 33 years old.
he's only 33.
Yeah, he's only 33. I mean,
People are saying people. There are some people that say he thinks he's going to retire this year. I'm like, no, he's
absolutely
still
not.
thriving.
Absolutely not.
If he
That
waits,
man is going to fight till he is 37, 38 years old.
if he waits long enough, he could probably move up to welterweight. I think welterweight's too stacked right now. I think if he waits like maybe like 2 years, he probably has.
Welterweight is the most heavy wrestling division there is. I mean, if you have Kamaru, Kobe, Hamzat, Gilbert, and all those people in the top five, and I mean, Leon's like that guy, but whatever. But those wrestlers, those people take out anybody. I mean, someone like Kobe, Kamaru, and Hamzat, they can wipe out a lot of the UFC roster. I mean, they can wipe out a lot of people just with their wrestling.
Yeah, I think that's if I'm looking at the top five right now, top 10 right now, right? I think
Yes.
Dustin beats Shavkat. I think
Whoa, 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 whoa. Bold statement, but I'm gonna let you continue.
no, Dustin's boxing is. I think Dustin's boxing can beat Shavkat.
All right.
Vicente Luque, who do you think? I think Dustin could beat Luque now. If it was a year
I
ago.
think well, I think Luque beats Dustin. That's I don't know, man. I mean, Luque, I don't know, man. Dustin is a legend. Dustin is, and I don't care what anyone says. Dustin is arguably a top 10 fighter of all time. With who he has beat and how many times 2 wins over Max, 2 wins over Connor, Eddie, Gaethje, Anthony
Finish.
Pettis.
First person to finish a lot of people too. Like first person to finish.
Yeah,
Only
finish
person.
Chandler.
Only person to finish Max. Like
The only thing that's holding Dustin from the top 10 of all time is him not being a champion. And what John Ennick said the other day, Justin's that good. Justin is that good.
I mean, like
I said Justin. Sorry, I meant
Dustin.
Dustin.
Uh,
Dustin, sorry.
I don't know. Like Luke's chin really held up against Jeff Neal, but also Jeff Neal had a great. Like I'm not gonna hold back on Jeff. Jeff Neal had a great performance against Luke. That would also be a great match, underrated match, but I would like that match. Dustin Poirier versus Jeff Neal. I don't know who I would
Oh
have
my
there.
god. I feel like Jeff Neal. But I mean, I've never seen Jeff Neal fight that good. I mean, Jeff Neal lost to Stephen Thompson. I mean, Jeff Neal has had his like he couldn't finish Santiago Ponzabino. I mean, how do you not finish Santiago Ponzabino, but you go in there and you knock out Vicente Luque? Like Luque is known for having one of the strongest chins in the history of UFC. Like I don't know,
He was
but
bopping like he was bopping off to the point where like we had to talk about it mid round. Like we had to be like, "Yo, are you watching this shit?"
yeah, dude. I mean, I can't believe it. I mean,
I think Stephen Thompson beats him. Sure.
I think Stephen Thompson beats too many people in the welterweight division right now. I just think Stephen Thompson has a made can't beat anybody in the top five and has zero chance of winning a round against anybody in the top five. I mean, everyone in the top five wrestles. You got Bilal Muhammad, you got
Gilbert.
Gilbert, Colby, Kamzat, Kamaru, Leon. I mean, believe it or not, his best chance of winning is Leon Edwards. And that's the champion
Yeah,
right
and
now.
Leon Edwards. I think Leon Edwards has a little. I don't know. I think Leon Edwards beats him obviously because if you beat Kamaru Usman, then I think you're physically able to beat Stephen Thompson.
Stephen Thompson would grapple him. I feel like Stephen Thompson would use his jiu-jitsu. If anyone is smart, no one knows not to stand with Stephen Thompson.
Yeah.
Can you imagine fighting somebody in real life? I can't imagine fighting someone like Stephen Thompson who can throw a hook kick, a lead hook kick, and knock you out with it. Like I couldn't imagine doing that. I would be terrified to fight Stephen Thompson.
I don't mean to go back to Dustin Poirier, but right, we have Beneil Dariush in the in the lightweight division, kind of waiting on two fights. But what fight do you think is a better option for him, or what would you like to see better? Beneil versus
Beneil
Dustin?
Dariush.
Yeah, Beneil Dariush versus Dustin, or Beneil versus Charles?
Beneil versus Charles. I think you need to preserve Dustin. I feel like Dustin's gonna be a once every 10 month kind of guy fighter. Charles is still trying to prove that he is that guy. If there is one fight in that division right now that gets you back to a title shot, it's Beneil Dariush. And Beneil Dariush, in my opinion, bro, you can give him a title shot. I think he has a better chance at beating beating Islam than Gaethje and Dustin. You got to put respect on Beneil's name. But at the same time, the best fight for Charles is Beneil Dariush. And
Yeah,
that's the best, that's the most competition you're going to get for what Charles hasn't beat already. Charles has beat pretty much, what, three people in the top five? Like, it's whatever.
I, I, I personally, before like getting into this, I personally was like, I would like to see Beneil versus Dustin, but like from a business standpoint and from like Dustin's standpoint, there is a possibility Dustin loses that fight.
Oh, absolutely. But
If he, if,
I feel like Dustin wins by decision because it's going to be a 3 round fight.
yeah, if he wants to keep that ranking, then I would like, if I was Dustin, I would avoid Beneil Dariush. Take like, I don't know, like I'll probably, if Kobe doesn't want to play ball with fucking Hamzat, then I guess Dustin versus Kobe at 170 would be decent. Even though I have
Wow.
Kobe absolutely
That
fucking
is such a
Dustin up,
bad fight for Dustin to
yeah,
take. That is such a bad fight.
even though I have Kobe, after I saw what Chandler did to Dustin, Kobe's gonna horrible. But
What's crazy is with Dustin and Colby, that does numbers.
yeah,
That does insane numbers. And if that fight actually got booked, can you imagine the UFC world right now? Like that actually puts up questions because Dustin has a chance of winning that fight.
yeah, he has the power to
Absolutely.
do so. I mean, and also this would be Kobe's last gemstone and running the ATT gauntlet. So I think that's the last person from American Top Team he has to beat. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Colby needs to prove something to me right now. Colby, before he gets another title shot, needs to prove something to me. I feel like Colby needs to win over somebody like Dustin or Hamzat or Bilal Muhammad. Because as much as people hate Bilal Muhammad, and I personally can't stand watching him, as much as MMA fan I am, I can't stand to watch Bilal Muhammad fight. But I just can't see Colby getting another title shot unless he gets a very, very impressive win. And with how good Bilal Muhammad is, I think Colby should be going for Bilal Muhammad. Absolutely. That's the
Sure,
best fight you can make for Colby.
sure. Plus, you got that.
Because Bilal Muhammad is that good, no matter how much people hate him.
He finished Sean Brady. He was able to finish Sean Brady. Also, I would love to see
Yeah,
if Bilal Muhammad had Khabib in his corner. I would love to see Kobe like chirp at Khabib. That'd be hilarious.
you can argue Bilal Muhammad deserves a title shot right now. I mean,
Then
I
he beat
just,
Stephen Thompson. He's number 6.
yep.
Beat fucking Vicente
Gosh,
Luque. He beat 3 people in the top 10. That's kind of fucked to think about.
like Bilal Muhammad deserves to fight top three next. Like you can't give Bilal Muhammad anything below top three. You got to give him somebody, man. I mean, I just
Honestly, if they really wanted, I think they really want Gilbert Burns to win. That's why they gave him Neil Magny. But we all knew Gilbert Burns versus Bilal Muhammad was the fight to make.
absolutely that's such a good fight because Gilbert comes in as the favorite, right? It's a
Yeah,
3 round fight, and win or lose, that's a benefit for both of them. I mean, if Bilal Muhammad loses to Gilbert Burns, do you know how? I mean,
understandable.
everyone knows how good Gilbert Burns is.
But if
Like,
Bilal wins, then people are like, "Oh shit, he's legit." And plus, we got kind of like a weird striker versus wrestler type deal. Both of their grappling is good enough to the point where they can stand up with each other. Bilal Muhammad proved that he could stand up with a decent amount of people, but I feel like Gilbert is a little bit more powerful. Is way more powerful, actually.
well, my opinion is Leon Edwards in that fight with Bilal Muhammad. Leon was piecing that guy up, and when I say piecing that guy up, like I thought Leon was on the way to knock him out cold. If you ever want get a chance, go. Everyone who's watching this, go watch Leon versus Bilal Muhammad, and think: is there a chance that Bilal Muhammad is going to win this fight? Because there was not. Okay, Leon Edwards is the best, if not behind Stephen Thompson, best striker in the division.
Yeah,
Like there doesn't get better than him. Like he beats Jorge, and I don't care what you Jorge fans say.
it
He,
just knocks him out
Leon is knocking
cold.
that man. Leon is putting Jorge out cold. Okay,
Not a
don't ever think that.
Leon versus Kobe. Not a good matchup for Leon, but at the same time, Leon is very capable of knocking Kobe out, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Same thing with Hamzat. Even though I feel like Hamzat will immediately shoot. If Gilbert Burns was able to knock him down, I definitely think Leon Edwards is able to knock
it's
him
from